Tonight, you're gonna lie down on the couch and do nothing. No errands, no emails, no plans. And somehow, by the time you close your eyes, you're gonna feel completely drained. That doesn't make sense, does it? You didn't lift anything heavy. You didn't run anywhere. You didn't fight off a predator or chase down dinner. And yet your body feels like it's been through something. The easy explanation is that you're just tired. Maybe you're getting sick. Maybe you didn't sleep well the night before. But the real answer is far stranger. Your exhaustion isn't a malfunction. It's a message. And it's coming from a part of your brain that has been sending the same message for roughly 200,000 years. To understand it, you have to go back to the world your body was actually built for. For most of human history, a day looked nothing like the one you just had. Your ancestors didn't sit still. They didn't scroll. They moved constantly, but not in the way a modern gym class means movement. They walked long distances to find food. They tracked animals. They climbed for fruit. They dug for roots. They built shelters. They carried children on their hips for hours. Here's the strange part. Anthropologist Herman Pontzer spent years studying the Hadza, a hunter-gatherer community in Tanzania, measuring exactly how much energy they burned in a typical day. His expectation, shared by most researchers at the time, was that people who moved constantly through rugged terrain would burn dramatically more calories than people living sedentary modern lives. The results didn't match the theory. Despite walking for miles and working physically almost every day, the Hadza burned roughly the same total daily energy as an average adult sitting in an office in London or New York. That finding reshaped how scientists think about the human body. It turns out your body doesn't just spend energy. It regulates it, adjusts it, budgets it like a household managing a fixed paycheck. Move more in one area, and your body quietly pulls energy from somewhere else to compensate. So if energy expenditure stays roughly the same whether you're active or idle, why does a day of doing nothing leave you feeling worse than a day of real effort? The answer isn't about how much energy you spent. It's about what your brain expected you to do with it. Your nervous system evolved to treat purposeful movement as the default state of being alive. Walking to gather food wasn't exercise. It was simply what a normal day required. Rest existed too, but it was earned rest, the kind that comes after your body has done what it was built to do. When you spend a full day physically still, with no clear task completed, no destination reached, no problem solved, something odd happens inside your head. Your brain doesn't register it as relaxation. It registers it as unresolved tension. Psychologist Mihai Csikszentmihalyi spent decades studying what makes people feel genuinely satisfied versus genuinely drained. His research consistently pointed to one detail. People report far higher life satisfaction on days involving effortful, goal-directed activity, even mildly stressful effort, compared to days of passive comfort. Passive comfort should feel restorative. Instead, people described it as flat, directionless, quietly unsatisfying. There's a reason binge watching a show for 6 hours can leave you feeling more tired than a 6-hour hike. Your brain isn't built to distinguish between rest and stagnation. To your ancient wiring, stillness without purpose looks dangerously similar to danger itself. Because in the environment you evolved in, prolonged inactivity almost never happened by choice. It happened when you were sick, injured, starving, or hiding from something that wanted to kill you. Your body still carries that old alarm system. Sit still too long, with no task, no direction, no resolution, and some ancient part of your brain quietly starts asking a question it has asked for 200,000 years. Is something wrong? That question triggers a subtle stress response. Not panic, not fear exactly, just a low hum of unease, restlessness, a nagging sense that something needs fixing even when nothing is actually broken. This connects to something researchers now call directed attention fatigue, a concept introduced by psychologists Rachel and Stephen Kaplan in their work on attention restoration theory. Their studies found that mental fatigue isn't only caused by hard thinking. It's also caused by a lack of meaningful engagement, the kind that comes from suppressing the urge to do something over and over all day. When you spend hours doing nothing structured, your brain isn't shutting off. It's working overtime trying to self-regulate boredom, restlessness, and a growing internal pressure to act. That regulation is exhausting in itself, even though it produces nothing visible. Think about the last time you tried to fully relax on a day off with genuinely no obligations. Notice how your mind kept drifting toward tasks anyway. Checking your phone, reorganizing a drawer, thinking about tomorrow. That's not a failure to relax. That's your evolutionary wiring quietly refusing to accept stillness as a finished state. There's also a chemical layer to this. Physical movement regulates the release of dopamine and endorphins in ways that passive rest doesn't. A study published in the Journal of Behavioral Medicine found that even light physical activity, walking, stretching, simple household tasks, produced measurable boosts in mood and perceived energy, while prolonged sitting correlated with increased reports of fatigue and low mood, even when sleep and diet were controlled for. In other words, movement doesn't just spend energy. It generates a kind of internal reward that stillness cannot replicate. Your ancestors didn't need willpower to stay active. Their environment simply required it. Food didn't appear without effort. Shelter didn't build itself. Every day contained built-in purpose, whether they wanted it or not. You don't live in that world anymore. Your environment can, if you let it, ask nothing of you at all. And that absence of demand isn't peaceful to your nervous system. It's unfamiliar enough to register as low-grade stress. This is the quiet paradox at the center of modern rest. The less your day requires of you, the more exhausted you can feel by the end of it. Not because you lack energy, but because your brain spent the whole day waiting for a task that never came. None of this means rest is bad, or that you need to fill every hour with productivity. Your body genuinely needs recovery, especially after real physical or mental effort. But recovery and stagnation are not the same thing, even though they can look identical from the outside. Real rest follows exertion. It has a beginning and an end, a before and an after. Stagnation has neither. It's simply time passing with no signal to your brain that anything was resolved. So the next time you spend an entire day doing nothing and end it feeling strangely heavy, you're not broken. You're not lazy. You're not out of shape. You're carrying a nervous system built for a world that demanded movement, purpose, and resolution every single day for 200,000 years. Dropped into a world that can now offer you none of those things if you don't seek them out yourself. Tonight, you lay down on the couch expecting rest. What you actually needed wasn't stillness. It was a reason to move at all.